Today's breaking story is about the second gentleman, Doug Emhoff, getting in the last word with Sarah Huckabee-Sanders about her humble comment, a pointed insult about childless parents directed specifically at his children's stepmother, Kamala Harris. The second gentleman is the title that Doug Emhoff currently carries as the spouse to Vice President Kamala Harris, and he is well on his way to having those business cards reprinted to say first gentleman. But today he's trending because of his response to Governor Sanders' dig at his wife for not having biological children. Have a listen to what she said in this Morning Joe breakdown, and in a minute I'll have his thoughts that include calling his humble wife a joyful warrior and a badass.
This is Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee-Sanders taking a swipe at Vice President Kamala Harris for not having her own biological children.
Not only do my kids serve as a permanent reminder of what's important, they also keep me humble. You can walk into a room like this where people cheer when you step onto the stage and you might think for a second that you're kind of special. Then you go home and your kids remind you very quickly you're actually not that big of a deal. And ours are pretty good at it. So my kids keep me humble. Unfortunately, Kamala Harris doesn't have anything keeping her humble.
Whoa. What is their obsession with women without children
it's just
of their biological connection?
Yeah, I mean...
Kamala Harris is the stepmother of two children with her husband, Doug Emhoff, Cole and Ella Emhoff. They call her Mamala. They consider her as much a mother as their own.
That was going to be such an endearing story that Sanders was telling that every parent could relate to before she took that weird Trump-like turn to insult a fellow woman and mother. And speaking of mother, Morning Joe mentioned the children's biological mother and Emhoff's ex-wife. Would you be curious to know what she thinks of this commotion about her children's stepmother? Well, guess what? She has spoken. Have a listen, and then I'll have Doug's rebuttal to Sanders.
In response to Governor Sanders' comments, their biological mother, Kirsten Emhoff, wrote on social media, quote, "Cole and Ella keep us inspired to make the world a better place. I do it through storytelling. Kamala Harris has spent her entire career working for the people, all families. That keeps you pretty humble."
Yeah.
What is this exception? I mean, honestly,
it's just cruelty. They really, first of all,
you're turning off an entire population of people.
No,
they just don't want those voters.
So clearly, division and oddness continues to be the game for Trump. But with so many blended and non-traditional families in America nowadays, how does this kind of polarization as a strategy make any sense? But the campaign is in free fall, and desperation makes people do strange things. It's as if the campaign is driving drunk and no one in the inner circle is brave enough to take away the keys. Meanwhile, on the other side of the road, Democrats are sober, they have clear direction, and their campaign appears to be on cruise control. Watch as Doug Emhoff takes his turn behind the wheel to share some background and then nudges Sanders into the ditch with his comeback.
We've heard the childless cat lady quote, and just this week, Governor Sanders of Arkansas said, quote, "My kids keep me humble. Unfortunately, Kamala Harris doesn't have anything keeping her humble." How do you react to a comment like that?
Yeah, it's appalling for somebody who is in a position of leadership like the governor to say something so repulsive and so out of touch. Not only on the one, mispronouncing her name, which is disrespectful. She knows what her name is. And then two, as if you need to have your own biological children to be humble, but then to say as if women should be humble. And you can see the pushback even from within her own party, because it's a repulsive thing to say. In my DNC speech, I called her the joyful warrior. So it's the joyful part. My wife, the one who's there for our family, is going to be there for your families, but she's also the warrior. And I think Donald Trump got the warrior part. Like, we needed a leader, and she stepped into the breach. And it's like she is the best, most badass version of the Kamala Harris we know and I love very much.
I really love the contrast presented by each campaign in these videos. If you're a woman who has to represent Donald Trump, you have to suppress whatever nurturing spirit you may have and play to his lowest common denominator games of insults and strange off-topic attacks. Whereas the Democrats are letting their flags of nurturing, empathy, and unity fly high. And speaking of unity, in closing, I want to revisit Emhoff's ex-wife and the mother of his children. You heard her speak out on behalf of Kamala Harris as a stepmother and present an uncommon united front that parents of any party can learn from. And now watch him speak out on behalf of her and display the warmth and humanity that separates the two tickets.
Harris is stepmom to 30-year-old Cole and 25-year-old Ella from the second gentleman's first marriage to Kirsten Emhoff. But it's been something to watch, speaking of family, to see your kids step up, to see your ex-wife step up.
Yeah, we roll hard together. You know, that's who we are. And, you know, Kirsten has been incredible. When you attack Kamala, especially on issues about motherhood, Kirsten has just been out there each and every time just to tell the truth about who Kamala is as a mother, as a person, as a member of our family, again, who's always there for us, and she's going to be there for your family.